This is Jocko Podcast number 25 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. And once again, we have this evening Jody Minnick. And if you didn't listen to the last podcast, this is our first double guest. He's been on the podcast twice. We went so long on the first podcast that we had to break it up into two podcasts, but Jody had been through a lot of stuff, had a lot of stuff to talk about. Canadian Army soldier, sniper, served in Afghanistan, member of the city council up in Ottawa. He's been on TV. He wrote this book right here. Boom. It's called Unflinching, The Making of a Canadian Sniper. And he was wounded in Afghanistan, lost double amputee below the knees. And we talked about that on the first podcast. If you haven't on podcast number 24. If you haven't listened to that one, listen to that one first so you get the context of what we're about to go into tonight. But welcome to the show once again, Jody.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Echo Charles.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, this one, since we already talked for a long time on the first one.
Didn't feel like a long time.
No, it didn't. But this time we did get some questions from the interwebs, and it was...
Now, do you strictly pull from Twitter, or do you get emails
I get
and
Twitter,
stuff?
I get Facebook, and...
What about your Instagram?
Okay, the problem with Instagram is you can't copy and paste from Instagram
that's
on
right.
my phone into the document that I travel with and keep going.
Roger.
So Twitter's the easiest one. Facebook's fine too, but I primarily use Twitter to get the questions from all the troopers out there.
And it keeps the questions short.
Yes, you have 140 characters.
Yeah.
And I've got now, so I have something called the podcast question bank,
Right.
Which I've captured every question that anyone's ever asked me. They're in there, and I just every time you got a chance of coming up in the lottery every time.
Nice.
Because I go through it and I go through all from the beginning and just look for questions that are pertinent, maybe to the pertinent of the topic that I'm talking about that night. Maybe it's pertinent to something that's going on in the world. But I just pick them and say, oh, yeah, that's a question that people have. Or I'll see repetitive question. A bunch of different people will ask me the same thing. And then that becomes one of the questions. But that's kind of how we've been doing it.
Right. So do you find you get, because I don't want to hash it out too much, but like your podcast went from non-existent to number one in about 6 days, something crazy like that. Like you left the Joe Rogan podcast.
Right.
Started your own. Hit number one, and now, do you get too much correspondence? Like, how do you keep up? Like, I've noticed you must make Twitter a daily task.
Oh, I have to, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep it up for.
Yeah.
Because...
So you're approaching critical mass.
I'm approaching critical mass where I'm not going to be able to... Because right now, I read every single... I'll probably always read them all. I mean, unless it just gets crazy. But... I at least read them, and I'll try and respond if it's something quick. If it's not something I can respond to immediately, I'll just put it in the question bank. And
would you ever consider getting someone to do it for you?
No.
Like, not answer, but take it all in, record it, so you don't have to check yourself?
Maybe, I guess that seems like something Tim Ferriss would tell me to do, which is smart.
He'd tell you to hire a kid in Pakistan to do it for $8 an hour.
Right. No, and maybe that's a smart thing to do. The problem I find with that is I wouldn't, if I was wanting to talk to me and I was one of the troopers out there, I'd rather take the chances of not hearing anything back from me, but know that the guy that actually read this thing was me.
Oh, I'm 100% with you. I've had people tell me to hand my stuff over, and I'm like, because that's me.
Yeah.
There's one reason why I interact with Jocko on Twitter. It's because I know it's Jocko.
Yeah. And I
you
think
know,
that's the feeling most people would have. I know I would have it.
Guess who I unfollow on Twitter when I realize, that's not him or her. Oh, okay, so never mind.
Yeah. For me, it's like if you're in a leadership position and you send someone else to do your bidding.
Ooh.
That's, to me, is not good. And I wouldn't like that if I was a follower.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of social media.
And the other thing is,
Right?
I get a lot of, good feedback from people. And also, people are always like, oh, you inspire me. And you know what I say? You inspire me too. Because there's people that are out there grinding it out in their worlds, in their lives. And I say, man, the world is filled with a bunch of people, not a bunch of lazy slackers that I'm used to. You get on the Twitter, the Jocko troopers, man, they're getting after it. All of them are charging.
Yeah.
They're not getting down there and saying, hey, I don't feel like I'm going to get after it today. I think I'm going to take, no. They're like, it's 4:07 and I'm in the game. And I go, damn, I got to keep my game in check.
Yeah, I love it when I see like, I'll see because you always put the picture of your watch when you wake up.
Yes, I do.
And then I'll see like a retweet with like, somebody else's watch, and there's like 1,000 watches with like your picture and theirs right next to it. And I'm like, oh, it's 6 a.m. where I am. Oh, look at that. I love you, man, but I ain't getting up at 4. Yeah. That's just me, though. Yeah. I don't have any legs, so I got an excuse.
That's cool.
Right?
I don't accept it. You do what you want.
But I feel the same because it's like, it's a duty now.
Yeah.
We've put ourselves in a position where others turn to us. So now we got to turn to them. And if we don't show up, who are we letting down? It's not that I'm letting me down.
Yeah.
It's that you're going to let down what do you got, like 25,000 Twitter followers or something?
It's about
it's
like
40
something. Yeah.
That's
That's
a lot of
40,000 people that are waiting for your 4 a.m.
Yeah.
That's good, but it keeps you sharp, right? Keeps you on the days. I say it. I got days where I'll look at my prosthetic legs and I'll be like, the last thing I want to do is put those things on today, and then I'll think about everybody else that is in my position, and I get it because I get the same thing, right? Oh, hey man, thanks for being who you are, and I'm thinking about them. Well, they're gonna get up, so who am I? And I love when I following guys like you though. Helps me go, oh, I'm a lazy bitch. People say I get a lot done. Look at this guy. And then, oh, look at her. And look at that kid. Oh, man, I better step my game up.
Yeah, a bunch of normal people. A bunch of regular people with regular lives are doing what they can to get ahead and dig in and make something happen. And that does fire me up. That does fire me up to see people
feels good
getting better.
Yeah.
And
wanting to.
Yeah, I just had someone today. This woman came into my gym.
Yeah.
And she said, they called me down. Oh, there's someone here to see you. I come down and it's a woman whose daughter is fired up for the podcast, fired up for the book. They actually named it. They have a CrossFit gym. It's called CrossFit Overwatch.
Ooh, I like.
Yeah,
it give me tingles.
Yeah. So they
I want to go there right now
because of Overwatch, as we talk about in the book, and so here's this woman. She was like, to be honest with you, she was kind of tearing up a little bit, like that fired up.
How humbling is it when somebody feels like that around you?
It's motivating to me.
Yeah. No, but it's think that you can have that. In my case, me, Jody Middick. The guy who just wanted to be a soldier, and somebody is that fired up to meet me that they're shaking.
Right.
Damn. Well, I gotta keep my game up.
Yeah, and it's weird too, and we actually talked about this on the podcast once. Is like, don't put me on a pedestal as if I'm something great, because I'm not, man. I'm not. I'm weak and soft and do stupid things. You know what I mean? Don't put me on a pedestal. But put yourself on a pedestal. Put yourself on a pedestal and rise up yourself. Don't worry about me.
Right.
Springboard off my back and go to a higher level. That's what I want to see happen. That's what I don't want. I don't want people to put me on a pedestal. I want them to stand on my shoulders and go higher and further than anything I could ever do. That's what I like.
Did it take you? This is a personal question on my end. Did it take you a while to say, like when somebody would say, you inspire me and thank you for being who you are. Did you accept that at first? Or did you have to tell them like, no, don't. Like you just said, like, I'm nothing special. But how long did it take you before you would accept that compliment without dismissing it?
I literally went right. The first person that said that to me, I said, no, man, you inspire me. Because guess what? I've had a great life. Yeah. I've had a great life and I'm stoked, right? Okay. But look at you. You're saying I inspire you? Look at you inspire me.
Yeah.
You're a single mom with 2 or 3 jobs getting after it.
Yeah.
And by getting after it, I mean waiting tables, working in as an admin assistant, and then doing some babysitting at night.
Yeah. And helping with homework and making lunches and.
Right. Oh, so Jocko's really, no. Actually, you are.
Yeah.
You're fired up.
Yeah. I asked because it took me a while because I had a real hard time with people looking at me like that. And I actually would be like dismissive of it at first. I'd be like, nah, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I'm nobody special. Like, don't say that. And I realized I was being a bit of a dick by completely dismissing their feelings for the situation. And then it was until I realized though, and then that's when I realized I went, oh, this is real. These people actually do feel this, and who am I to dismiss their feelings? You know. So I started trying to use it to be stronger and realize like this is real. Like people are looking up to me, so now I got to live up to that role.
I'll tell you another thing that I tell people when they say something like that to me. I tell them, look, there's many people that have done way more than me and sacrificed way more than me.
100%.
And the fact that you think that about me, the only reason you think that about me is because you know me. You know who I am because I stepped out of the darkness and into the public view.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's a bunch of warriors that they're never going to know their name. They're never going to be able to say, hey, you inspire me. So they're throwing that in my direction. And I tell them, look, I don't inspire you. You get inspired by what I stand for. And what I represent is thousands and thousands of servicemen. SEALs, yes. Soldiers, yes. Marines, yes. All of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're saying. And so on behalf of all of them, I get it. Because you know what? Those soldiers, those Marines, those SEALs, those guys in special operations, they inspire me too. And so I think that's kind of the...
So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I had to ask you because I went through such a... With the legs and everything, I was just trying to accept not having legs. Never mind that I had a woman come up to me and say, I had several actually, but this was like maybe the first, I think. She said, I lost 100 pounds because of you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first of all, you don't even look like you weigh 100 pounds. And I'm like, huh? What did I do? I'm just being me. And that was the one that really in my mind, like at that moment I went, okay, I gotta reevaluate what's going on here.
Yeah.
I can't just dismiss this as I'm just Jody Middick anymore. Clearly there's something going on.
Well, I think your story in particular strikes a real chord with people because you had to overcome some crazy adversity. And by the way, your adversity, while challenging, as you know well, there's guys with much more challenging adversity than you've had, 10-fold, 100-fold. And so, for me, it's a joke. For you at least get a sense, but you and me both know, and we've seen guys, and we know guys that have had it, like I said, infinitely worse than you. Unimaginable. Yeah. And so those guys that get up with their issues and press on and drive on, look to them for inspiration.
Absolutely.
Look right past me. Look right past Jody. Look at those guys who are doing what they're doing. And that to me is where inspiration comes from. And so I guess inspiration's around you everywhere.
Yeah.
It really is. If you open your eyes to it and you look at what other human beings do, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love it. I love humans. Humans are we're such a species that study, like so anyway, I know we wanted to get to the interwebs, but I wanted to have that discussion with you before we moved on because it was just important to me to hear that.
The discussion has been had.
Roger.
And I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And yeah, like I said, I see why people are coming up and telling you that.
Yeah.
I agree with them actually.
Well, thanks, buddy.
All right.
You make me blush.